Access your free language gifts right now before they expire. Here's what you're getting this month. First, the Using Opposites Conversation Cheat Sheet. With this new cheat sheet, you'll learn common opposite adjectives like near and far, hot and cold, and grammar rules on how to use these words in a sentence. Second, the How to Say Goodbye PDF Writing Workbook. With this printable PDF, you'll pick up some common parting greetings and be able to practice writing them out. Third, can you talk about cars in your target language? Learn how to say words like tire, windshield, headlights, and more with this quick vocab bonus. Fourth, must know words and phrases for public transportation. Learn how to say ticket, bus, train, and much more with this quick 1-minute lesson. Fifth, the 10 habits of highly effective language learners. Wondering which habits will help you succeed with language learning? Then check out this free lesson. Sixth, want the language learning app that gets you speaking? Download Innovative Language Learning for free for the Android, iPhone, and iPad. You'll unlock bite-sized audio and video lessons that teach you practical conversations and start speaking in minutes. And finally, the deal of the month. If you want to make your language learning breakthrough this year and get full access to our complete learning program, then get 31% off Premium and Premium Plus with the Breakthrough Sale. To get your gifts and language learning resources, click the link in the lesson description below. Download them right now before they expire.
Hi everyone! Welcome to the Korean whiteboard lesson. My name is Keijin. 안녕하세요, Keijin입니다. In this lesson, you will learn how to give your phone number in Korean. Let's get started. Okay, so let's look at the Korean numbers. So before starting this, please remember there are two kinds of Korean numbers, which is pure Korean numbers and Sino-Korean numbers. Pure Korean numbers are often used with counter. Sino-Korean numbers are used, for example, phone number or just room number. And today we are going to look at the Sino-Korean number, which are the numbers from Chinese characters. Okay, so first we have 0. In Korean, it is 공, 공, 공. It means 0. Do you know 공 has another meaning, which is a ball? Ball used for soccer, baseball, basketball. So you use a ball, right? That is 공. That ball looks like 0. So it's 공 here, 공. There is another way to say 0 in Korea, which is 영. 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 But 영 is not often used for phone numbers. So when you give a phone number, please remember 공, 공, 공. 1 is 일. 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 2 is 이. 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 3 is 삼. 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 4 is 사. 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 5 is 오. 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 6 is 육. 육 or 육 in Korean. 육. 육. By the way, if you use 육 at the beginning of the word, we just say 육. But when this 육 comes in the middle of the word, we often pronounce it like 륙, 륙, 륙. But it means exactly the same. It just means 6. So please remember when Korean people pronounce 6 as 륙, when it's used in the middle of the word, you just know it means 6 and it means the same. 륙. 7 is 7. So 7 is 칠, 칠, 칠. By the way, lots of Korean people write 7 as this. So for example, I often use this in Korea because I learned it from my English teacher, and some Korean grandmother and grandfather even asked me, what is this? So please remember, this is very common 7 in Korea. And if you see this, you know this is 7. 7. 8 is 8. 8. 8. 9 is 9. 9. So let's quickly review the numbers. 0 or 0, but for phone number, 0 is more common. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Now let's look at the dialogue. Please find the numbers and see how they are used. 전화번호가 뭐예요? 제 전화번호는 010-0198-7654예요. Let's listen one more time. 전화번호가 뭐예요? 제 전화번호는 010-0198-7654예요. Okay, so the first sentence means, what is your phone number? 전화번호가 뭐예요? 전화번호가 뭐예요? 전화 means phone. 번호 means numbers. Altogether, 전화번호 means phone number. 가 is a subject marking particle, marking 전화번호 as subject of the sentence. 뭐예요? 뭐예요? 뭐 is shortened form of 무어, and it just means what. What. 뭐 means what. 예요. 예요 is from the verb 이다. 이다. It means to be. Technically, it's a particle, but it's used as a verb like to be. 전화번호가 뭐예요? What is your phone number? 제 means my. It's a humble way to say my. 제. 전화번호, we just learned. Phone number. 는 is a topic marking particle. So in English, it's similar to as for. So it can be as for my phone number is. So this is the phone number. 010, we just learned that. 0, 0, 1, 0, 0198 0198 7654 7654. 예요 is also from the verb 이다, meaning to be. So it can be translated as just it is. 제 전화번호는 010-0198-7654예요. 제 전화번호는 010-0198-7654예요. Here I use the numbers in the Korean alphabet, but more people use numbers just like this, just normal numbers, not in the Korean alphabet. I just wrote it just for you so you can practice more. 010-0198-7654예요. Let's look at more examples. 제 전화번호는 010-0678-9543이에요. 제 전화번호는 010-0678-9543이에요. Did you find the numbers here? Here, these are the phone number. 제 전화번호는, again, my phone number, 010-0678-0678-9543-9543-9543이에요. Oh, have you noticed some difference here? Here I used 예요, but here in this example I used 이에요. Why? Let's look at this number. 4. it ended with a vowel sound, right? 사, it ended with vowel sound, so we are using 예요, 예요. But let's look at this number. 9543, 3, it ended with consonant. It kind of ended with M, right? 3. So since the last syllable is ended with consonant, we are using 이예요, 이예요. So let's look at one more example. 제 전화번호는 010-0931-2560이에요. 제 전화번호는 010-0931-2560이에요. Numbers are used here. 제 전화번호는, again, my phone number, 010-0931-2560이에요. So 010-0931-2560 이에요. Why did I use 이에요? 2560, it ended with consonant, right? 공 is kind of ended with ng sound. It's similar to ng sound in English. 공. Since it ended with a consonant, we are using 이에요, 이에요. Okay. In the dialogue and examples, you've probably noticed a pattern here. Yes, I kept use the same pattern here. 제 전화번호는, and say phone number, and 예요 or 이에요, which means my phone number is phone number. 제, again, it means my, right? It's a humble way to say my. 전화번호, phone number, and 는, topic marking particle, and your phone number, and say 예요 or 이에요. 예요 is used when the last syllable ends with a vowel. 이에요 is used when the last syllable ends with consonant, such as 삼. And 제, again, 제 is very humble, polite way to say me, right? My. So there is another way to say my, which is 네. It's very casual, so you are not using it when you are saying politely, but when you use a casual language between friends or talking to someone who is very younger than you, then you are using this. My phone number is 내 전화번호는. So instead of 제, replace it with 내. 내 전화번호는 phone number, and say 예요, 이에요. Or if you are saying very casually, you can even say 야. It means exactly same as 예요 or 이에요. 야 or 이야. But this is very casual and informal. So this is the sentence pattern. So when you give a phone number, use this sentence pattern. In Korea, mobile phone numbers mostly start with 010. There used to be different numbers such as 011, 016, 017, 018, 019 before 2004, but they are not commonly used anymore. Do you remember how to say one? 일. And how to say two? 이. Do you remember how to say three? 삼. And how to say four? 사. Do you remember how to say 5? 오, 오. And how to say 6? 6, 6. Do you remember how to say 7? 7, 7. And how to say 8? 8, 8. Do you remember how to say 9? 9, 9. And how to say 0? 0, 0. Do you remember how to say phone number? 전화번호, 전화번호. And the humble way to say my? 제, 제. Do you remember how to say my phone number is 010-0198-7654? 제 전화번호는 010-0198-7654예요. 제 전화번호는 010-0198-7654예요. That's it for this lesson. In this lesson, we've learned how to give your phone number in Korean. Thanks for watching. I'm Kjin and I'll see you on KoreanClass101.com. 다음 시간에 봐요. Hi everyone. Welcome to the Korean Whiteboard lesson. My name is Kjin. 안녕하세요, Kjin입니다. In this lesson, you learn Korean words for family members. Let's get started. Okay, so let's look at the vocabulary. First word we have is 아버지. 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 It means father. 아버지. But in English, you also say dad a lot, right? Dad, daddy, dad. In Korean, we say it 아빠, 아빠. So 아버지 is polite way to say father in Korean. 아빠 is quite informal. 아빠. How about mother in Korean? Mother in Korean is 어머니, 어머니, 어머니. And this is, again, is a polite word. Informal word is 엄마, 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 엄마. So when you talk about your father and mother to your friends, you will use these words more often. 아빠, 엄마. But in some formal situation, I will use 아버지, 어머니, 아버지, 어머니. So imagine you are a male. You're a male and you have older brother, older sister, younger brother, and younger sister. How can you say these words in Korean? So the older brother is 형, 형, 형 in Korean. This word is only used by male. 형. How about older sister? If you're a male, you can use this word. 누나, 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 누나. So it means older sister. And again, this word is only used by a male. How about younger brother? Younger brother is 남동생. 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 남, it means male. 동생, 동생 means younger sibling. So it literally means male younger sibling. 남동생. How about younger sister? You just replace 남 with 여. 여 means female. So female younger sister, younger sibling is 여동생. 여동생. You can omit this gender word though. 남, 여. Just remove 남, 여, and you can just say 동생. 동생. It means younger sibling. It's very commonly used. So you don't have to mention their gender. You just say 동생. This is my 동생, means this is my younger sibling. It doesn't have to have the gender word all the time. Okay, so what if you're female? If you're female, you will use different words for older siblings. For example, 오빠. If you're a K-pop fan, or if you're a fan of Korean dramas, Korean movies, or Korean TV shows, you probably heard this word really a lot. 오빠, 오빠, 오빠. It means older brother. 오빠, 오빠. And again, this word is only used by female. 오빠, 오빠. How about older sister? 언니, 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 언니. It means older sister used by a female. 오빠, 언니. And for younger siblings, they use exactly the same word. 남동생 or 여동생 or even just 동생, 동생, 동생. And imagine you are married and you have your own family. If you're male, you will have a wife, right? Wife in Korean is 아내, 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 아내. Or we use this English word, wife, wife. In Korean pronunciation is 와이프, 와이프, 와이프. 와이프 is also commonly used. But have you noticed? 와이프. In Korean, we don't have F sound. So we replace the F pronunciation with P sound. So instead of wife, we say wife, wife. So for wife, we have two different words, 아내 and wife. Both of them are used very commonly. Wife is from the English word. It's a loan word. How about son? This is my son. Son. Son in Korean is 아들, 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 아들. 딸, 딸 is also commonly used, which means daughter, daughter. 딸, 딸. What if you're female and you are married and you have a husband? Husband in Korean is 남편, 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 남편. Then do you use this husband in Korean too? We don't use this husband as a long word. So nobody say, this is my husband. So we just say 남편. So for husband, we only have one word, which is 남편. For son and daughter, the words are exactly the same. Son is 아들, 아들. Daughter is 딸, 딸. So these are the must know Korean words for your family members. Let's look at the dialogue. Two coworkers are talking and one of them is showing a picture to the other on her phone. See what family member is used in the dialogue. 누구예요? 남편이에요. One more time. 누구예요? 남편이에요. 누구예요? Who is this? 누구 means who. 예요 is from the verb 이다, meaning to be. It's technically a particle, but it works like a verb. 누구예요? Who is this? Who is this? And 누구, who, 예요 is. So there is no this in the sentence. In Korean, we often omit some part of the sentence because it's understood in the context without it. 남편이에요. 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 We learned this word here, right? 남편, 남편, it means husband. This is my husband is 남편이에요. 이에요, again, is from the verb 이다, 이다, meaning to be. Again, it's a particle, but it acts like a verb, to be. 남편이에요. So technically, it means is my husband, is husband, but in the context, we understood this and might. This is my husband. 남편이에요. What if you want to say a different family member? It's not husband, but for example, it's my mother. This is my mother. Let's look at more examples. So what if you want to say another family member? For example, is this is my mother. Do you remember the word for mother? Is 어머니, right? 어머니, 어머니. And we say 예요. It's from the 이다, again, meaning to be. So it literally means is mother, which is this is my mother. 어머니예요. 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 Did you notice the difference? I used 이예요 here, but I used 예요 here. Why? 어머니, 어머니. This word is ended with vowel sound, right? 어머니, 어머니, 이. It ended with vowel sound, so we use 예요, 예요. But here, 남편, 남편, it kind of ended with N sound. It ended with a consonant, so we use 이에요, 이에요. Again, if the word is ended with a consonant, we use 이에요. And if the word ended with this vowel sound, then we use 예요, 예요. 어머니예요. 누나예요. 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 누나. This is my older sister. 누나예요. 누나예요. 누나, 아. It ended with vowel sounds, so again we are using 예요 here. 누나예요. And by looking at this word, you know that the speaker is a male, right? Because 누나 is only used by male. If you're female, you will use this word instead. 언니, 언니. It also means older sister, but it's only used by female. 언니예요. 언니, because 언니, it ended with a vowel sound. 오빠예요. 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 This is my older brother. 오빠 is the older brother. 오빠 is used by female, right? So if you're a male, you will be probably saying 형, 형, 형. It means exactly the same, but this word is used by male. 형. But 형, it ended with consonant sound, right? 형, it ended with consonant sound. So in this case, I'll be using this ending. 이에요, 이에요, 형이에요. How about this? This is my son. 아들이에요. 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 This is my son. 아들. Daughter is 딸, right? So I would say 딸이에요. This is my daughter. 딸이에요. Again, 아들, 들, it it ended with a consonant sound, right? 아들. So we are using 이에요 here. If you want to say, this is my younger sister, then it will be 여동생이에요. 여동생이에요. 여동생 means my younger sister. 여동생, it ended with consonant sound, right? So we are using 이에요 here. So if you look at these examples, you will probably notice a pattern here. You say a family member word here and say 예요 or 이예요. Again, you just say the family member and then say 예요 or 이예요. Do you remember when you use 예요? 예요? Let's see. 어머니예요? 누나예요? 누나, If a word ended with a vowel, you use 예요, 예요. If the word ends with consonant, then you are going to use 이예요, 이예요. So any family member is okay. Just say the family member in Korean, say 예요 or 이예요. In English, it means this is my family member. In the example, you don't see my, which is 내 informally, or 제 formally in Korean. It's because you can omit it when it's understood in the context. If you want to mention my to refer to your family member, you will use 우리 informally or 저희 formally, which literally means our. So the informal way to say my mother is 우리 엄마. The formal way to say my son is 저희 아들. Please note that you will use 내 informally and 제 formally, which means my to refer to your younger siblings. So the informal way to say my younger sister is 내 여동생. The formal way to say my younger brother is 제 남동생. Do you remember how to say father? 아버지, 아버지. And how to say mother? 어머니, 어머니. Do you remember how to say older sister as a female? 언니, 언니. And how to say older sister as a male? 누나, 누나. Do you remember how to say younger sister? 여동생, 여동생. And how to say older brother as a female? 오빠, 오빠. Do you remember how to say older brother as a male? 형, 형. And how to say younger brother? 남동생, 남동생. Do you remember how to say daughter? 딸, 딸. And how to say son? 아들, 아들. Do you remember how to say wife? 아내, 아내. And how to say husband? 남편, 남편. Do you remember how to say this is my husband? 남편이에요. 남편이에요. Hi everyone! Welcome to the Korean Whiteboard lesson. My name is Keijin. 안녕하세요, 케이진입니다. In this lesson, you will learn how to talk about your occupation in Korean. Let's get started. Okay, so let's look at the vocabulary. First word we have is 학생. 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 Student. 경찰관. 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 It means police officer. Next we have lawyer. 변호사. 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 Next we have 연구원. 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 Researcher. Next we have 바리스타. 바리스타. barista. Barista. So this is a long word from English. So barista. Next we have teacher. 교사. 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 There are many Korean words for teacher actually. For example, you will find this word a lot. 선생님. 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 Or even 강사. 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 Or you will also find 교수. 교수. So what are the differences? If you say 교사, people will think it's teacher for elementary school, middle school, high school. 교사. And it's a name for the occupation. 선생님. 선생님. People call 교사 as 선생님. So when you address the person, you don't call them 교사, 교사. You say 선생님, 선생님. So when you call them 선생님, then they will say, yes, do you have any question? 선생님. How about this? 강사, 강사. It's more like an instructor or lecturer. 강사, 강사. 교수, 교수. 교수 is a professor. And when you call professor, you will call 교수님, 교수님, 교수님. So you will probably see 선생님 very often because that's the word you will use to call your teacher. But these teachers often say, oh, I'm 교사, because it's the name of the occupation. Next we have 의사. 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 Doctor. 소방관. 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 소방관 means firefighter. 소방관. 회사원. 회사원. 회사원 means office worker. There is another word for office worker, which is 직장인. 직장인. This word is very similar to this. Actually, these two words are closer to company officer, company employee. Company employee is 회사원 or 직장인. So someone is working for a company and the person is belong to a company, belong to some organization, then they will say 회사원 or 직장인. But if you want to mention the occupation that deals with lots of documents in the office particularly, then there is a word for it. 사무원. So basically, lawyer and then researcher can be 회사원 too, because the law firm and then also the research organization can be a company for them too. So they can be both 회사원 or 직장인, so it's company employee. But 사무원 is named for the occupation. So this person deals with all the documents. They have lots of other document-related work. 사무원, 사무원. Next we have 간호사, 간호사, 간호사. It means nurse, 간호사. 요리사, 요리사, 요리사. It means chef. But this English word is also commonly used in Korea. So you can also just say chef. Korean people often think chef is more cool and modern. Chef, chef, chef. So this is a long word, so you can use it directly in Korean too. Chef. But please remember, in Korea, we don't have the F sound. So it's not chef. So we change the F sound with P sound and put U sound. It's not chef, 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 chef. So this is how we pronounce this word in Korea. Next we have engineer, engineer, engineer. It means engineer. Again, this is a long word and there is a word for engineer in Korean too, which is 기술자. 기술자, 기술자. 기술 means skill. 기술, 기술. 자 is a person. So someone who has some specific skill, then we call them 기술자, 기술자. But these days, we often use this word too, engineer, for computer programming, for other engineering stuff. We often say engineer, engineer. Next, we have 회계사, 회계사, 회계사. 회계사 means accountant. The last word we have is bank employees. So the people who work for the bank is 은행원, 은행원, 은행원. So if you read letter by letter, it's 은행원, 은행원. But if you read it quickly, then it will be 은행원, 은행원, 은행원. This is how Korean people pronounce. So when you see these words for the occupation, you will find something in common. For example, 관 or 관, police officer and firefighter, they work for the government, right? So we have 관 here. So when you have 관 at the end, we often have some impression that this person is working for the government. 경찰관, 소방관. How about this? 사, 사, 의사, 사, 사, 사. So a lot of jobs, occupation also have the letter 사 at the end. And we often have the impression that some job, some occupation ending with 사 earns a lot of money. They are professional at specific area, like lawyer, doctor, so 사, 사, or accountant, 사. Another letter you will probably find very often will be this, 원, 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 원. So this person is belongs to some organization and doing some work for the organization. So 원. So when you see the name of the occupation, you will find this common word. And you will also find 자 at the end. So when you see this, you know this means a person. Like in English, you have ER at the end, right? Officer, lawyer, researcher, something like that in Korea. So 학생, student, 경찰관, police officer, 변호사, lawyer, 연구원, researcher, 바리스타, barista, 교사, teacher, 의사, doctor, 소방관, firefighter, 회사원, office worker, 간호사, nurse, 요리사, chef, engineer, engineer, 회계사, accountant, 은행원, bank employee. Okay, so let's look at the dialogue. Two neighbors are talking and they are getting to know each other better. When I read the dialogue, please find the occupation word and see how they are used in the dialogue. 교사예요? 아니요, 교사가 아니에요. 학생이에요. Listen one more time. 교사예요? 아니요, 교사가 아니에요. 학생이에요. Did you find occupation words here? 교사예요? 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 Are you a teacher? 교사 means a teacher, right? 아니요, 교사가 아니에요. 아니요, 교사가 아니에요. No, I'm not a teacher. 학생이에요. 학생이에요. 학생 means a student. I'm a student. 학생이에요. So, 교사예요? Are you a teacher? 아니요, 교사가 아니에요. No, I'm not a teacher. 학생이에요. I'm a student. Let's look at more examples. 아니요, 경찰관이 아니에요. 변호사예요. 아니요, 경찰관이 아니에요. 변호사예요. Did you find the occupation word here? 아니요, 경찰관이 아니에요. 변호사예요. No, I'm not a police officer. I'm a lawyer. 아니요, it means no. 경찰관 means police officer. 이 아니에요 means I'm not. But have you noticed some difference? Here I use 가. But here I use 이. So I'm using a different particle. So 가 and 이 both are subject marking particle. But now I'm using different one. Why? Let's look at this word first. 교사, 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 교사. It ends with a vowel, right? This word is end with vowel, so I'm using 가 here. 교사, It's ending with a vowel. 가. How about this? 경찰관, 경찰관, 경찰관. Do you hear the N sound at the end of this word? 경찰관. Yes, it ended with a consonant. When the word ends with a consonant, we use 이. So there are two subject marking particle. Which one would you use? It depends on the last letter of this word. So here I use 가, 이. And another difference here. 변호사예요. 변호사 means a lawyer. And I say 예요, 예요. It literally means 예요. 예요 is from the verb 이다, meaning to be. So it literally means it's like, it's a lawyer. I'm a lawyer. 예요, 예요. Again, I use 예요 here, but use 예요 here. Why? It's because of last letter of this word. So after, before this 예요, see what word, what sound comes. 학생, 학생, 학생. So it kind of ends with ng sound, which is a consonant. So when the word ends with a consonant, then you use 이에요. 이에요. It means to be or it is or I am. We are omitting the subject here, so you have to guess. So here it looks like I'm because I'm talking about my occupation. So even without I'm, you understand that I'm talking about myself, right? So 이에요. How about this? 변호사. 변호사. It ended with a vowel sound, so we are using 예요. So as you can see, in Korean, the sound is very important. What sound the word ended with? Is it consonant or vowel? So it depending on the sound, we use different particle or different ending. Let's see another example. 아니요, 연구원이 아니에요. 바리스타예요. 아니요, 연구원이 아니에요. 바리스타예요. 아니요, 연구원, researcher이 아니에요. 바리스타예요. 바리스타 means barista. 아니요, it means no. 연구원, researcher, I used not 가. Why? 연구원, 원. It ended with a consonant sound, right? 연구원, kind of like N sound, so we are using 아니에요. No, not. 바리스타. Again, 바리스타. It ended with vowel sound, so we are using 예요 here. 아니요, 연구원이 아니에요. 바리스타예요. So you probably noticed the sentence pattern. 아니요, and say name of the occupation and use 이 or 가. 아니에요. 아니에요 means not. So 아니요, no, I'm not occupation. So put the name of the occupation. If the name of the occupation ends with consonant, then which one would you use? You use 이. If the name of occupation ends with a vowel, then you are going to use 가. Occupation, 예요. I'm occupation. So see the name of the occupation. Does it end with consonant? Like this, 연구원, then you use 이에요. Did the name of occupation end with a vowel? For example, like 교사, 사, then you will use 예요. 아니요, occupation, 이 or 가, 아니에요. Occupation, 이에요 or 예요. Do you remember how to say student? 학생. And how to say I'm a student? 학생이에요. Do you remember how to say teacher? 교사. And how to say I'm not a teacher? 교사가 아니에요. And how to say police officer? 경찰관. Do you remember how to say lawyer? 변호사. Do you remember how to say researcher? 연구원. And how to say barista? 바리스타. barista. Do you remember how to say doctor? 의사, 의사. And do you remember how to say firefighter? 소방관, 소방관. Do you remember how to say office worker? 회사원, 회사원. And how to say nurse? 간호사, 간호사. Do you remember how to say chef? 요리사, 요리사. Do you remember how to say engineer? engineer, engineer. And do you remember how to say accountant? 회계사, 회계사. Do you remember how to say bank employee? 은행원, 은행원. That's it for this lesson. In this lesson, we've learned how to talk about occupation in Korean.
Welcome to Can Do Korean by KoreanClass101.com.
안녕하세요, 여러분. 김계진입니다. Hi everyone, I'm Kejin Kim. In this lesson, you learn how to ask how much something costs.
This is Ben Morris, and he's shopping at a small grocery store. He sees a snack with no visible price tag and asks, "How much is this?"
이거 얼마예요?
Listen to the conversation and focus on the question. Ready?
이거 얼마예요? 1,500원입니다.
Once more with the English translation.
이거 얼마예요?
How much is this?
1,500원입니다.
It's 1,500 won.
Let's take a closer look at the conversation.
Do you remember how Ben asks, "How much is this?"
이거 얼마예요?
First is
이거,
this.
이거, 이거.
Next is
얼마예요?
meaning how much.
얼마예요? 얼마예요?
The first part is
얼마,
meaning what amount or what price in this context.
얼마.
Next is
이에요.
here it's like the is in is it.
이에요. 이에요. 이에요.
Is from the particle
이다.
meaning to be.
이다.
Together it's
얼마이에요?
however
이에요.
often gets shortened into
예요.
when it comes after a word that ends in a vowel as in,
얼마.
so it sounds more natural to say.
얼마예요?
How much?
얼마예요?
Notice the rising intonation to indicate a question. Altogether it's
이거 얼마예요?
this literally means, as for this, how much is it? But translates as, how much is this?
이거 얼마예요?
Let's take a closer look at the response.
Do you remember how the shop clerk says, "It's 1,500 won"?
(1,500원입니다)
First is the number
1,500,
1,500.
1,500, 1,500,
Let's start with
100,
100.
100, 100,
Next is
500,
500.
500, 500,
Finally,
1,000,
1,000.
1,000, 1,000,
Altogether,
1,500,
literally means 1,500.
1,500, 1,500,
After this is
won,
Korean won.
won, won,
Together it's
1,500원,
1,500 won.
1,500원,
Unless you're dealing with numbers at an official setting like a bank or a real estate office, you normally omit the 1 in 100, 1,000, etc. For example, instead of saying,
1,500원,
it's more common to say
1,500원,
in everyday conversations. Last is,
입니다,
here it's like the is in it is.
입니다, 입니다, 입니다,
Is the formal form of the particle,
이다,
meaning to be.
이다,
Altogether it's
1,500원입니다.
This literally means 1,500 won it is, but translates as it's 1,500 won.
1,500원입니다.
Note the it is inferred through the context as the speaker is responding to a question about the price of the small snack. Note, at the time of this lesson, 1,500 Korean won can buy an ice cream. The pattern is
아이템, 얼마예요?
how much is item?
아이템, 얼마예요?
To use this pattern, simply replace the item placeholder with the thing you'd like to know the price of. Imagine you'd like to know the price of a coffee.
커피, 커피, 커피.
Say, how much is a coffee? Ready?
커피 얼마예요?
How much is a coffee?
커피 얼마예요?
Let's look at some examples. Listen and repeat or speak along with the native speakers.
이거 얼마예요? 이거 얼마예요?
커피 얼마예요? 커피 얼마예요?
케이크 얼마예요? 케이크 얼마예요?
딸기 얼마예요? 딸기 얼마예요?
그거 얼마예요? 그거 얼마예요? Did you notice how I replaced 이거 with 그거, meaning that? 그거 얼마예요?
How much is that?
그거 얼마예요?
The pattern is the same, but
그거,
that replaces
이거,
this,
그거,
that.
그거, 그거,
Note
그거.
is used to indicate something close to the listener. Next is
얼마예요?
meaning how much is
얼마예요?
altogether.
그거 얼마예요?
How much is that?
그거 얼마예요?
Let's review the key words.
커피,
Coffee,
커피, 커피. 케이크,
cake,
케이크, 케이크. 딸기,
strawberry,
딸기, 딸기. 그거,
that.
그거, 그거. Let's review. Respond to the prompts by speaking aloud. Then repeat after me, focusing on pronunciation. Ready? Do you remember how to say how much? 얼마, 얼마. And how to say this? 이거, 이거. Do you remember how Ben Morris asks, how much is this?
이거 얼마예요?
이거 얼마예요? Do you remember how to say one? One. One. And how to say 100? 백. 백. Do you remember how to say 500? 500. 500. And how to say 1,500? 1,500. 1,500. Do you remember how the clerk says it's 1,501?
$1,500원입니다.
1,500원입니다. Do you remember how to say coffee? 커피, 커피. And how to say strawberry? 딸기, 딸기. Do you remember how to say that? 그거, 그거.
Let's practice. Imagine you're Ben, and you're at a farmer's market, where many items have no price tag. You'd like to try a snack close to the listener. Ask the price using the word for that. Ready?
그거 얼마예요?
2,000원입니다.
Listen again and repeat.
그거 얼마예요? 그거 얼마예요?
Let's try another. Imagine they're also selling artisan coffee. Ask for the price of a coffee. Ready?
커피 얼마예요?
3,000원입니다.
Listen again and repeat.
커피 얼마예요? 커피 얼마예요?
Let's try one more. They're also selling strawberries. Ready?
딸기 얼마예요?
6,000원입니다.
Listen again and repeat.
딸기 얼마예요? 딸기 얼마예요?
In most cases, Korean doesn't make a distinction between singular and plural nouns. You'll use the same pattern when you are looking for salt or a watermelon or some watermelons. For example, 딸기 있어요? Can translate as are there any strawberries? Or is there a strawberry? Depending on the number of strawberries. The English translation may alternate between singular and plural, but the Korean pattern remains the same.
Hi everyone, I'm Alicia. Welcome to Conversational Phrases. In this lesson, you'll learn conversational phrases to answer the question, what are you doing? After watching this video, you'll be able to answer this question and tell someone something about what you're writing. Now let's take a look at some conversational phrases.
Listen to the dialogue.
뭐 하고 있어요?
내 일기를 쓰고 있어요.
Once more with the English translation.
뭐 하고 있어요?
What are you doing?
내 일기를 쓰고 있어요.
I'm writing my journal. First of all, you'll need to learn how to say, what are you doing? That's,
뭐 하고 있어요?
listen to it again.
뭐 하고 있어요? 뭐 하고 있어요?
This Korean sentence literally translates as, what doing are you? But it means, what are you doing? Now, how do you answer this question? The pattern is object.
을 쓰고 있어요.
This Korean sentence literally translates as, I object writing about am. But it means, I'm writing object. For example, I'm writing my journal.
내 일 기를 쓰고 있어요. 내 일기를 쓰고 있어요.
Here are a few more phrases you can use with the same pattern. My journal.
내 일기. 내 일기.
My journal.
내 일기.
My goals.
내 목표. 내 목표.
My goals.
내 목표.
My dreams.
내 꿈. 내 꿈.
My dreams.
내 꿈.
A to-do list.
할 것들. 할 것들.
A to-do list.
할 것들.
Let's look at some examples. Listen and repeat or speak along with the native speakers.
뭐 하고 있어요?
내 목표를 쓰고 있어요.
What are you doing?
뭐 하고 있어요?
I'm writing my goals.
내 목표를 쓰고 있어요.
뭐 하고 있어요?
내 꿈을 쓰고 있어요.
What are you doing?
뭐 하고 있어요?
I'm writing my dreams.
내 꿈을 쓰고 있어요.
뭐 하고 있어요?
할 것들을 쓰고 있어요.
What are you doing?
뭐 하고 있어요?
I'm writing a to-do list.
할 것들을 쓰고 있어요.
Okay, now it's your turn. Do you remember how to say, "What are you doing?"
뭐 하고 있어요?
Imagine you're writing your goals. Do you remember how to say, "My goals"?
내 목표. 내 목표.
Say, "I'm writing my goals."
내 목표를 쓰고 있어요.
Now answer the question saying you're writing your goals.
뭐 하고 있어요?
내 목표를 쓰고 있어요.
Now imagine you're writing your dreams. Do you remember how to say, "My dreams"?
내 꿈. 내 꿈.
Say, "I'm writing my dreams."
내 꿈을 쓰고 있어요.
Now, answer the question saying you're writing your dreams.
뭐 하고 있어요?
내 꿈을 쓰고 있어요.
Now, imagine you're writing a to-do list. Do you remember how to say a to-do list?
할 것들. 할 것들.
Say, "I'm writing a to-do list."
할 것들을 쓰고 있어요.
Now, answer the question saying you're writing a to-do list.
뭐 하고 있어요?
할 것들을 쓰고 있어요.
Hi everyone, I'm Gabriella. How are your Korean listening skills? In this video, you'll have a chance to test them out with a quiz. First, you'll see an image and hear a question. Next comes a short dialogue. Listen carefully and see if you can answer correctly. We'll show you the answer at the end. Are you ready?
한 남자와 한 여자가 대화 중입니다. 남자는 왜 늦었습니까?
늦어서 미안해.
또 늦잠 잤어?
아니, 오늘 6시에 일어났어.
그런데 왜 또 늦었어?
그게 버스가 안 와서.
그래서?
사실 버스가 좀 늦게 왔고 실수로 다른 버스 정류장에서 내렸어. 그래서 여기까지 걸어와야 했어.
남자는 왜 늦었습니까? 한 남자와 한 여자가 대화 중입니다. 남자는 왜 늦었습니까?
늦어서 미안해.
또 늦잠 잤어?
아니, 오늘 6시에 일어났어.
그런데 왜 또 늦었어?
그게 버스가 안 와서.
그래서?
사실 버스가 좀 늦게 왔고 실수로 다른 버스 정류장에서 내렸어. 그래서 여기까지 걸어와야 했어.
Did you get it right? I hope you learned something from this quiz. Let us know if you have any questions. See you next time. Hey everyone, welcome to the Monthly Review, the monthly show on language learning, where you discover new learning strategies, motivational tips, study tools, and resources. By the way, all the lessons and bonuses you're about to see can be downloaded for free on our website. So click the link in the description right now to sign up for your free lifetime account. Okay, today's topic is how to learn a language 2 times faster by learning in pairs. And no, this does not mean learning with another person. But if you're looking for a way to learn more, improve faster, and do both input and output instead of just focusing on one language skill at a time, then this month's episode is for you. You'll discover 1. How learning in pairs gets you mastering more of the language, and 2. How you can apply this tactic to your learning. So, how can you learn a language in pairs? Part 1. How adding a human dynamic boosts your motivation. First, what's learning in pairs exactly? Think about it. When we study a language, a lot of the time we focus on one skill at a time, right? For example, one day you'll focus on grammar, another day you'll focus on speaking. For the most part, we only focus on one skill at a time. Learning in pairs is combining 2 skills, pairing them up. For example, reading and writing, listening and speaking, and grammar and vocabulary, just like that. Why do this? Is there anything wrong with focusing on one thing at a time? Not at all. Any time you spend learning is time well spent. But learning in pairs has some advantages and can help you master a language faster. Number 1, it's a better use of your time. For example, instead of spending 10 minutes on a word list, you can spend 5 minutes reviewing and the other 5 minutes saying those words out loud. So that would involve vocabulary and speaking. So you improve 2 skills at the same time. And you end up remembering the words better because you're practicing them in 2 different ways. Number 2, you're forced to do input and output. Input is where you take the language in, like reading or listening, and output where you produce the language, like speaking or writing. That way, you get to practice what you learn instead of just passively taking it in. And passively taking things in isn't the best way to actually speak the language fluently. You need practice. So by including output, you're actively including practice into every session that you do. And number 3, learning in pairs breaks up the monotony of doing one thing at a time. You might also wonder, do the skills have to be related? They can be, like listening and speaking, or reading and writing. But it's really up to you and what works for you. In the next part, we'll show you some examples of pairs and how to practice them with our program. But to recap, learning in pairs means pairing up 2 skills, like reading and writing, speaking and listening, grammar and writing, grammar and speaking, as well as other variations that you can come up with. So if you read for 5 minutes, you should also write for 5 minutes, or speak for 5 minutes, instead of reading for 10 minutes. Plus, words and grammar rules tend to stick better when you practice them in different ways. This is a learning tactic called interleaving. So, here's how you can learn in pairs with our learning program. Part 2. How you can apply this tactic to your learning. First, for listening and speaking, take our audio and video lessons. Listen to the conversations and shadow along, or repeat what you hear. To make it easier, download the dialogue tracks, which give you just the conversations, and listen and shadow along with them. For reading and writing, you can read the lesson dialogue and then write it out. You can do this with the line-by-line dialogue or with our lesson notes. So, reading and writing, listening and speaking. These are the most obvious pairs to do. You can also try grammar and speaking. For every grammar rule you learn in our lessons, spend an equal amount of time creating and saying example sentences out loud. For example, if you learned the potential form, I am able to, or I can, come up with and say lines like, I'm able to run fast, I am not able to run fast, I can jump, I cannot jump, and then say them out loud. You can also do this while pairing grammar and writing. For every rule you learn in our lessons, write out the example sentences. Next, you can also try vocabulary and speaking. Use our free vocabulary lists. Review them first for 5 minutes, and then spend the next 5 minutes saying them out loud. You can also try listening and writing. If you're an intermediate or an advanced learner, listen to a lesson conversation and write it out as you hear it. Or, if you want something easier, play our vocabulary builder lessons, where you hear just the words and write them out. These are just a few examples of how to learn in pairs. Feel free to create other pairs that we haven't mentioned. And let us know which ones you came up with and how they worked for you. Leave a comment. So thank you for watching this episode of Monthly Review. Next time, we'll talk about the halfway point and how to keep going with language learning. If you enjoyed these tips, hit the like button, share the video with anyone who's trying to learn a language, and subscribe to our channel. We release new videos every week. And if you're ready to finally learn language the fast, fun, and easy way and start speaking from your very first lesson, get our complete learning program. Sign up for your free lifetime account right now. Click the link in the description. See you next time. Bye! You want to learn a language and succeed, right? But where do you start and what do you do? There's grammar, speaking, listening, reading, and writing. So much to do and no clear pathway to follow. And it can feel overwhelming, right? But what if you had a clear, step-by-step path of lessons that taught you everything you needed to know and took you from absolute beginner to advanced, and all you had to do was just follow the pathway? Well, you can do just that with our recommended learning pathway. But if you don't yet have access, sign up for a free lifetime account right now. Just click the link in the description. So, how does our recommended pathway help you learn the language fast? 1. You get a clear starting point. With any goal you have, it's important to know where to start and what steps to take. Otherwise, you quickly get discouraged. So that's where our recommended pathway comes in. The pathway is simply a collection of audio and video lessons to learn with, and assessments that test you on what you've learned in the last few lessons. So you get a clear, step-by-step pathway of lessons laid out for you. Just follow the pathway, complete the lessons, do the assessments, and that's it. You'll find the recommended pathway on your dashboard and in the lesson library. 2. You get lessons that are right for you. When you sign up and set your learning level, whether absolute beginner, intermediate, or advanced, we give you a level-appropriate pathway. There's Level 1 for absolute beginners, meaning you have no experience. Level 2 for beginners with some experience. And all the way to Level 5 for advanced learners. So your learning experience is tailored to you and where you are in your journey. 3. You can level up your language skills. Instead of wondering if you're improving. How? As you're going through the pathway, you're constantly learning with the lessons, and you're constantly getting tested on what you've learned, with our lessons and multiple choice and hand-graded assessments. You'll find the assessments peppered throughout the pathway after every few lessons. And once you're finished with the Level 1 Absolute Beginner path, we give you Beginner, Level 2, then Intermediate, Level 3, and all the way up to Advanced. 4. You can easily stay on track and reach your language goal. Sticking with goals can be hard, especially when you don't see a clear path from where you are to where you want to be. But with the recommended pathways, you get a clear step-by-step pathway of lessons. All the lessons are laid out in front of you. Just do one lesson a day and follow the path until the end. By the end of that pathway, you'll level up your language. So if you're feeling overwhelmed with language learning and if you just want one clear pathway to follow, take advantage of our recommended learning pathway. But if you don't yet have access, sign up for a free lifetime account right now. Just click the link in the description to sign up. Want to speak more of your target language? Well, here's a completely free way to boost your vocabulary so you can understand more, speak more, and increase your fluency. In this quick guide, you'll learn all about our free vocabulary lists, how you can unlock hundreds of vocabulary lists that we give only to our users, and how you can learn new words and phrases fast without having to memorize for hours. But first, if you don't yet have access to our free vocabulary lists, be sure to sign up for a free lifetime account. Just click the link down in the description to sign up right now. So, how do these free vocabulary lists increase your fluency? Here's how. First, you can boost your vocabulary and range of expression with hundreds of vocabulary lists spanning all the must-know topics. Just look for the vocabulary lists inside the vocabulary drop-down menu on the site. And there, you'll find lists for all kinds of topics, such as introducing yourself, talking about weather, the most common conversational phrases, holidays like Valentine's Day, Halloween, Christmas, New Year's, and much more. Second, you can practice your listening skills. By hearing the words at both native speed and at the slower half speed. Just click on the speaker icon next to each word to hear it at normal speed, and click a second time to hear the word at half speed, and you'll easily start understanding the word anytime you hear it. Third, you can practice your speaking skills with the voice recorder, a premium feature inside the vocabulary lists. Just click on the microphone icon to record yourself saying the word or phrase. You can also listen to the native pronunciation and your own pronunciation side by side. That way, you can instantly hear how close you are to the native speaker and how to improve. Fourth, you can easily review the words with the vocabulary slideshow tool. Just click the Play Slideshow button at the top and sit back and listen to the words. You can also play the slideshow on loop until all of the words and phrases are stuck in your brain. And fifth, if you want to master these words even faster, you can save them to your word bank or study them with the flashcards. Both are premium features. The word bank is your personal collection of key vocabulary, where you can also create printable vocabulary study sheets. And with flashcards, you can drill the words and retain them forever, thanks to our smart spaced repetition system. So if you want to boost your vocabulary and speak more of your target language, then get access to our free vocabulary lists. Sign up for a free lifetime account right now. Just click the link in the description to sign up. Want to easily remember new vocab and phrases? Fact: everyone, beginners and advanced learners alike, forgets new words the first time they learn them. So what's the secret to remembering? What do smart learners do? They note them down and review them later. And you can do this with our study tool called the Word Bank, your extended brain for language learning. And in this video, you'll discover 1. How to save keywords and phrases, 2. How to review the words so that you never forget them, and 3. How to create your own printable vocabulary worksheets. But first, if you don't yet have access to this tool and our lessons, just click the link down in the description and sign up for your free lifetime account right now. First, what is the Word Bank? The Word Bank is a premium study tool, and it's your personal language database, where you can save new words and phrases with a single click, review them all in one spot, and never forget them. Think of it as your extended brain for language learning. Look for the Word Bank in the vocabulary drop-down menu on the site, or inside the menu in our app. So, how do you take full advantage of this powerful study tool? 2. How to save keywords and phrases. If you're taking a lesson and want to save key vocab, simply go to the vocabulary section. Select the words you'd like to save and click on Add to Word Bank. If you're using the core word list, like the 2,000 most common words, or the vocabulary lists, select the words, go to Add Selected Words, and click on Word Bank. Now, the words and phrases are saved in your word bank, and you can even organize the entries with labels like adjectives, verbs, or phrases. 3. How to review the words. Once you save the words to your word bank, you can easily see all of them, all in one spot. With every word or phrase, you get the audio pronunciation, the translation, and even the related lessons where they're introduced. That way, you can review the words one by one. If you'd like to study words with flashcards, just click on Sync to Flashcard Deck. This will create a flashcard deck of your word bank entries for you to study. 4. How to create your own printable vocabulary worksheets. If you want to have physical worksheets and practice writing the words on paper, then click on Printer-Friendly Version and print out your word bank entries. You can even export your word bank as PDF, CSV, or XML files. Remember, you can use this powerful feature with flashcards, lessons, and vocab lists, so take advantage right now. Save new words and phrases to your word bank with a single click. Review them all in one spot and never forget them with the word bank feature. But if you don't yet have access, sign up for a free lifetime account right now. Just click the link in the description to get your free lifetime account. Great work! Here's a reward. Speed up your language learning with our PDF lessons. Get all of our best PDF cheat sheets and ebooks for free. Just click the link in the description.